Now at 10, this is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
And unimaginable suffering over the course of 2 decades is just a reminder of the darkness that does exist in our world.
We have disturbing new details tonight after police held a press conference today laying out what a man's stepmother allegedly put him through for more than 20 years. Thanks for joining us for the Fox 61 News at 10. I'm Brent Harden.
And I'm Sarah Sanchez. Police say the man, who is 32 years old now, was locked inside a room at a Waterbury home, reportedly in an unimaginable conditions. And we do want to warn you, what you're about to hear could be disturbing. And here's what we know so far. 56-year-old Kimberly Sullivan was arrested Wednesday. She's accused of locking her 32-year-old stepson in that small room for over 20 years. He told police this went on since he was 11 years old. When police first met him, they described him as very dirty with rotten teeth. He said he had to drink from a toilet to stay hydrated. In an arrest warrant, the man also said there was a lock on the outside of his bedroom door.
Room did have exterior locks on it and a number of different styles of exterior locks. As was explained during an interview with the victim throughout the years, it appeared that the locks increased in security levels as time progressed.
Kimberly Sullivan is currently out on bail tonight. She'll face a judge later this month.
The school administrators and the teachers did their job, right? They identified that there was a problem here, and they suspected it was at home.
Goes on, questions remain. Could an abuse case like this really go unnoticed for so long at this home? And now state lawmakers are demanding answers of their own. Fox 61's Jamel Johnson spoke with a lawmaker who offered insight into where things might have gone wrong.
This Waterbury home behind me was set on fire in February, but it wouldn't be until later when reports surfaced about a man being locked up inside the house for over 2 decades. The alleged abuse from his stepmother started much earlier than that, and that's why officials like Senator Jason Perillo are asking the question, how does this go on for so long? The accused kidnapper in question is 56-year-old Kimberly Sullivan, the stepmom of the man who escaped. Reports detail that since a child, the man was held captive, starved, and was subject to other forms of abuse. As a child, it said that he would go through trash to find food and also beg and steal foods and drinks at school. His behavior prompted the school to notify DCF. We reached out to DCF for comment. They sent us back a statement saying, quote, "The Department of Children and Families has looked extensively at our current and historical databases and to date have been unable to locate any records pertaining to this family nor any records connected to the names of others who have indicated they made reports to our department. In accordance with state regulation, it should also be noted that reports of neglect and abuse that have been investigated and not sustained are expunged 5 years after completion of the investigation."
The school administrators and the teachers did their job, right? They identified that there was a problem here, and they suspected it was at home. Then the ball's in DCF's court to do their due diligence and make sure that the kid is safe, and that obviously didn't happen here. The big question is, what is DCF doing to make sure that they don't walk up to a house, feel that things are going okay, when in reality they're not?
Sullivan and her attorney continue to maintain her innocence and fully expect the case to go to trial. In Waterbury, Jamel Johnson, Fox 61.
Right now on Fox61.com and the Fox 61 app, you can find a link to the GoFundMe page set up by the city of Waterbury for this man. The Safe Haven of Greater Waterbury organization is handling all the money, which will go directly to him. If you'd like to donate or learn more about the case, you can find it online on our app or streaming anytime on Fox 61 Plus.
Now, Fox 61 Weather Impact with Chief Meteorologist Rachel Frank.
We have a total lunar eclipse outside tonight, so what you're actually seeing is the moon turns this reddish color because you're seeing the Earth's shadow. That total eclipse beginning around 2:30, and it will be around until 3:30 in the morning. We are going to be battling some clouds, which are coming in right now, and you may have a better chance at viewing this in areas north and west of Hartford. But if you do end up giving it a chance, again, right around 3 o'clock in the morning, and the farther north and west you live, the better. Low temperatures tonight, right around 30 degrees inland, mid-30s for the Connecticut shoreline. Heading through the day tomorrow, any early clouds will break for sunshine. By lunchtime, we're near 50, and we're looking at high temperatures between 55 to near 60 degrees as we head through the afternoon with lots of sun. Enjoy the sun because the clouds come rolling back in heading into your Saturday. It's a kind of a misty, damp start to the day, but we might see a little bit of sun in the afternoon. And then it is windy and warm on Sunday. Heavy rain to finish the weekend. We'll talk timing coming up.
Thank you, Rachel. A New Haven woman is under arrest accused of shooting and killing a food delivery driver. It happened earlier this year. Police say Lachey Moore is charged with murder for the shooting back in January. The delivery driver was making a delivery to home on Shepherd Street when police say he was shot. His car was stolen, but they found it later down the road. Investigators will give more information on the arrest tomorrow morning at a New Haven Police Headquarters press conference. The Greater Hartford NAACP has launched an independent review of a deadly police shooting. Police body cam video was released by the Inspector General's office last week, and some of what we're about to show you may be disturbing. Hartford police officers shot and killed 21-year-old William Bowen last week. The report from the Inspector General says Bowen was on Instagram Live holding what appeared to be 2 firearms. When officers arrived, they said he showed a gun and then took off. The officers chased after him, but they say Bowen came at them holding something, and that's when they fired. The report says Bowen dropped a cell phone he was holding. 2 firearms were recovered after the shooting. The Greater Hartford NAACP says it's calling for the full release of all evidence in this case to ensure the public gets the full scope of facts in the investigation.
Connecticut is part of a multi-state lawsuit against the White House over the dismantling of the U.S. Education Department.
The department employs over 4,000 people and will soon be cutting that number in half.
Fox 61's Kay Pattyfoot spoke with experts, parents, and teachers about the impact this could potentially have on our state.
Parents and teachers we spoke with say they are concerned after hearing the cuts to the Department of Education. They're worried about the federal grants the state receives.
I don't think that getting rid of the Department of Ed is not a big deal. I think it's a very big deal.
Jennifer Srebenpod is a mom of 3, and her 2 oldest children are on IUPs, which is an individualized education program.
So I'm concerned about the impact to IDEA, so that's the act that protects children with learning disabilities and allows them to have equal access to education.
Lindsay Cook is a mom and educator and worries for Title I schools in our state.
I think that the schools that are already struggling and schools located in underserved communities will likely be the ones most severely impacted by these type of cuts. So unfortunately, it's taking resources away from the kids and the schools that probably need it the most.
According to a Connecticut State Department of Education spokesperson, quote, "We have not had any funding interruptions for any of the federal programs administered by the Federal Department of Education." On Wednesday, President Trump reiterated his plan for education, saying it is better suited in the hands of the individual states. Aaron Boxer, a former special education teacher and the CEO of Diversified Education Services, believes this is a beneficial move.
Cutting the DOE's workforce isn't about pulling teachers out of the classrooms. It's about cutting federal red tape that forces schools to focus on compliance more than actual teaching. So if anything, it gives Connecticut the opportunity to control its own education dollars instead of letting Washington dictate how our schools operate in Connecticut.
But Connecticut Education Association President Kate Diaz disagrees, saying the cuts to the DOE will impact the Federal Student Aid Program, or FAFSA.
You know, we are one glitch away from people's student loans evaporating and creating confusion around what's my repayment structure now? Where do I send my money? How do I do this appropriately? So this is not something we can afford to get wrong.
Diaz says when it comes to student loans, if you have them, you should download any necessary documents and stash them away. You should also stay on top of how much money you owe. In Hartford, Kay Pattyfoot, Fox 61.
Well, March Madness is underway in the world of college basketball. The UConn men kicked off the Big East Conference tournament down at Madison Square Garden. Right now, the Huskies are slated to take on Villanova in the semifinals. Now, the game has been delayed, but it should start very soon.
And in stores, fans are willing another national championship into existence and make it a three-peat.
Not to mention the excitement over the UConn women's team. That's always high this time of year. Fox 61's Valerie Moravi has more from some of the most passionate fans of Husky Nation.
Well, UConn men's basketball team are looking to make history this year in the NCAA tournament by becoming the first ever to win 3 championships in a row. Now, fans tell me their Huskies will not disappoint.
I think they got it handled. Like, they don't disappoint usually, so I trust them.
Thursday night marks the start of the road to March Madness for the UConn Huskies men's basketball team. Daniel Kramer says the team has what it takes to take the win home.
100%, no doubt. No doubt in my mind. We've got a mentality that is unbeatable, so I believe in my Huskies.
Even though the NCAA basketball tournament is one of the most unpredictable in sports, Nick DiPietro says the team is ready to dominate the challenge.
I mean, the Big East tournament always brings a good show. Obviously, you got UConn going for big things this year, so we're going to be there tuned in as long as everyone else, and hopefully they come out with a big win tonight.
Meanwhile, Monica Valesio says she takes pride of her team.
I think it's awesome. They've worked hard for what they've done, and it's cool being a part of a school that has so much school pride in our basketball team.
Well, fans are also rooting for the women's team, and as you know, the UConn women's basketball team won the Big East last week, and they will look to win this national championship this year for the first time in almost a decade. In stores, I'm Valerie Moravi, Fox 61.